Hi. It has been some time, and as I told you before, I had some businesses to do, and hopefully before the year ends, I was about to finish them. Now I have more time, and I intend to publish more videos about the topics that are interest or within Middle East, especially within Turkey, and the geopolitical events that also have effect in this area. So this week we have recognized that there are more Arab nations or states that recognize or start establishing diplomatic relations with Israel. We want to talk about how it might affect, why it is happening, and how we are seeing 2020 nations. Now, so without further delay, let's start. Now, after Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia start kind of establishing diplomatic relations with Israel, we have seen Bahrain, Sudan, and lately Morocco have started establishing also diplomatic relations with Israel. So why it's happening? We see that this is not coming out of love. It's not attraction. It's not any other things. It's only pure mutual benefits. Now, the Arab Emirates have established diplomatic relations with Israel and the rest of the nations, and we have to at first recognize why there is a great change in the Middle East. Now, at first, we have to also recognize the position of US and the US interest for future. After the Second World War, US have recognized that the communism is a great threat to national interest. So they set up NATO, and they set up bases in Europe, and they confronted communism. Beginning of 90s, the communism have eroded, dissolved the Soviet Union, and we have now seen the Turkic states with or the satellite states within the Russia around, and we have seen in 90s or beginning of 90s, end of 90s, the Russia has lost great power. At that time, the United States have recognized that there are many military equipments and soldiers idle because now the Russian or the Soviet threat is diminished. At that time, what we have seen is that we have seen the Bosnia events and also the events in the Middle East, the Iraq or Saddam tries to invade Kuwait, and also it was having a threat on Saudi Arabia. Since the US had pledged Saudi Arabia's security in 1950, I think 47 or 51, I cannot remember, but I think 51, yeah, or 53. Anyway, and since then, the United States have allocated all of its, or a great amount of its military equipment and resources in the Middle East. We have seen the Iraq wars, the Iraqi invasion, the Afghan war, and other events up until today. But now we are seeing a rising China threat to the U.S. national interest. So therefore, U.S. has started to implement a new strategy in order to confront China in the Asia. Therefore, they need all these resources moved from the Middle East area to the Asia. Now, that's why we have been seeing that the transfers all these equipments and soldiers from Asia, Middle East to Asia, in order to confront the rising China threat. This is how US is now looking at the events. Therefore, there is a great vacuum power in or being created in the Middle East. So before that, the Arab nations had some kind of contacts with Israel behind the US, because US was being there, their existence is there. Since this curtain has been now removed, they have to directly start setting up diplomatic relations, and that's what's happening. So at first it starts with the Arab Emirates and Saudi, some kind of agree with this. Egypt is already having, and then we have seen the Bahrain and Sudan, and now Morocco. Now, this is not coming out of love, I said in the beginning of this video. Why? Because if you look at the Arab Emirates and Saudi, the primary interest is the national threat they feel from Iran. So in order to have a counterbalance, they need a strong alliance, which is Israel. They have a strong army there, especially air forces and equipment, military technology. So now they can directly go and buy the military equipment from there, which mostly is American also. So this creates a mutual benefit to Israel because it creates the security guarantee somehow, or at least the threat coming from Sunni nations are reducing. Now, then the Bahrain attended this. And it creates also a national interest for both Israel and Bahrain, because Bahrain also feels the same threat from Iran, and it creates a kind of a security threat reducing from the Arab nations. It indeed starts creating a coalition that agrees with the existence of Israel in the region. Now, Morocco and Sudan. Sudan has been taken out of the list of the countries that supports the terrorism, and now Sudan started to recognize this. This is at the same time happening. Also with the Morocco. Morocco has an interest in the Western Sahara region. They claim it, and the United States have recognized it. So we have seen this, how the soft power can play nicely in order to make enormous trade without applying the hard fist in the region. This is coming from the resources that the US has. And since the US is a close ally to also Israel, this is happening. And from the stand of US, it's a great thing, because the liberal international order has to be established in the state. And therefore, they need strong alliances created in this region, and the existence of Israel should be also granted. Looking from this perspective, US has done a great job, to be honest. And I am expecting there will be some more and more countries joining in this alliance, or Arab nations especially, attending or joining these alliances. Now, from the aspect of Iran, this is a great threat. Why? Because before, the Arab nations also feel hostile against Israel, which creates a kind of rising tensions between the United States and Arab nations. Now, this tension is getting lost. So it means that Arab nations with Israel having a coalition against Iran. And that's a great threat to Iran, and also a pressure on Iran. Since the President Trump had failed to make a considerable progress with Iran, he withdrew from the nuclear deal, or JCPOA, which granted that Iran is going to have a nuclear power, but not the nuclear weapons. And it will open also business affairs with foreign countries, but he has withdrawn from that and recognizes Iran as a national threat and also global threat. But we have seen that since he has moved so, President Trump, Iran has increased the terror activities in the region. He has created problems to U.S. national interests, and these created, unfortunately, some negative effects on the U.S. National interest. Now, the problem here for the President-elect Biden is how he's going to repair this. And I believe that he's going to strongly lean on fixing a new deal with Iran on the basis of the JCPOA, or he's going to renew that with some new items or terms, and they will reach a kind of agreement. From the perspective of U.S., this is a great deal, because according to this international liberalism order, trade is a great way to stop the war, which is this, to be honest. It's not only what liberal international order dictates, but also we see it since the beginning of the world, existing of people. So also, this is a very great opportunity for U.S. to do so, because Iran has a great investment opportunities for the U.S. companies on all technological basis. So it will add value to the American values to promote in Iran, while Iran is going to secure its interests also, like the political elites will survive, they will remain in the administration. They will be recognized as a friendly country, and this is going to be also okay for Iran. Now, how it is going to be done, we will see within the coming terms, starting by 20 January, and the president-elect will be President Biden. And I strongly believe that he will start establishing a kind of a diplomatic relation with Iran again, and they will start talking on this. So we might see the first fruits of these discussions within the end of maybe 2021 or beginning of 2022. They might renew the GCPOA, and they will sign this. So it will reduce the pressure on Iran. Now, what in terms of once this is going to be reduced or this deal is going to be done, then how Iran and the Arab nations will be affected, we will see it. But I do not think that United States will allow any kind of tensions arising between these two sides, since the US will be putting all its eyes against or on in Asia, especially against the rising China. That will be very bad for US. So he will, the US will put his hands over there, and he will not allow the tensions rising. He will always control it. And therefore, we will expect more economic activities coming up in the future in that region, so the peace can be retained. What is the lesson for Turkey? Now, Turkey has forgotten the most important lesson of all time. And why we have, as a Turk, I am also Turk, so why we have successfully invaded, let's say, or captured Istanbul during the Fatih Sultan Mehmet era. We had a strong army, and at that time we had a strong economy. And we have a strong also technology. The cannonballs, the big ones, were used there for the first time, maybe in the military wars. So while we combine all of this, we have forgotten as Turkey, as of today, that strong military can be only supported with a strong economy. And our economy is not strong. We have a great problem in the economies. Therefore, Turkey cannot fully, successfully become a major player in the region. Once we put our military efforts, which we have now much more better military technology in the region, we can use them very successfully, but it cannot be supported with the economy. And while you cannot support it, your influence or your effective becomes less. That's supposed to be when it's strong, the economy is strong. So it's very important that Turkey should act to rectify its deteriorating economic situation within the country. Now, what will happen, what will not happen, is another story that we need to discuss separately out of this. But I am expecting that it will not be done for some reasons. We will see the Turkish administration becomes more and more in favor of or leaning to getting or gathering the control under one fist or under one hand. That's a great risk for the Turkish economy also too. But the short story is that Turkey has been missing that how economy is important to have better influence in the region. And now we are losing grip in the region. That's a strong message that I should be giving. Now, if you like this video, there's a like button underneath, and please subscribe to our channel. So once we will also enlarge our society and a group of people, we will come together and we can discuss everything here. No problem. And please shoot me email when you want anything. It will support me. As I said previously, we are going to change all the decors and all these equipments here. Hopefully, I'm going to use much more better equipments future in January. Hopefully, I am I am waiting the shipments now at this moment, and hopefully within New Year it will be much more better with more graphics. Hopefully, please write me with anything that you want our opinion, and we will make a video for you. Have a nice day and stay healthy. Bye.